Hi everyone, today is the USC Next Level Sports Conference at the Intuit Dome. I'm Riley Sager and I'm one of the emcees, so I'm going to take you behind the scenes to show you what it's like from a student's perspective, from the panelist to panel moderators. There's a lot of USC students covering the event for Annenberg Media and working as volunteers, so I'm going to show you all of that. So stay tuned, it's going to be a great day and I can't wait. I just arrived at the Intuit Dome. So many great panels going on today. I can't wait to see my friends and other volunteers for the conference, so let's go check it out. Each year, the USC Next Level Sports Conference brings together industry leaders and innovators, as well as students, to explore what's ahead in the intersection of sports, media, business, technology, fan engagement, and culture. I was a student host at the conference, which meant I got to introduce some panels, plus I was watching them throughout the day and sharing key takeaways with our social media audiences. I even got to interview USC Annenberg Dean Willow Bay and Chief Correspondent for Bloomberg, Jason Kelly. So I'm going to take you along with me through my checklist for the day as a student host. Let's get into it. Some of my fellow student volunteers were working on social media for the conference, and I actually started my day by getting interviewed from a student on the social media team, which was really cool, but usually I'm on the other side of the mic. Then it was off to introduce some panels. We prepped our own lines and everything. We even practiced a few times during rehearsals, but I have to say it's a lot different with hundreds of people watching. Everybody in the audience had a great time. Just some takeaways. They were talking about F1, and the panelists were Jess Smith and Emily Praser.
One of the reasons we needed to embrace the US culture was because we weren't able to grow this sport without truly understanding it. And so, people say to me, well, what are you doing now that's different? It's actually learning from the likes of the NBA, the NFL. I'm really seeing how they engage with fandom.
First is understanding who your audience is, right? Like you have to really look internal and understand who you are and what you're asking people to do to be a part of that, whether it's somebody buying a ticket, merchandise, following you on TV, or being your partner. And you better be able to talk to them about why it matters in whatever capacity that you're asking them to join.
And how do you build a new fan base? You want to keep the fans that you already have, but you also want to attract new people. And it's striking that balance can be kind of tricky because you first have to understand what is your product and then how are you delivering it to them. Yes, fan tickets for something like a Valkyries game is very important, but also merchandise, and fans are following on social media for their favorite players. So there's so many different outlets. So it was really great to hear from the two of them. My interview with Dean Bay, she was talking about athlete-owned media and just how it's reshaping the media landscape. And she's talking about it because the USC Annenberg Norman Lear Center just released a study called Owning the Narrative, and it's all about athlete-owned media.
We know of athletes as competitors and players. We've also known them in sports media roles, mostly as commentators and play-by-play analysts. But we're living in an era that is being redefined in terms of the sports media landscape by athletes not just creating their own content and distributing their own content, but owning it. And it is literally adding billions of dollars to the media ecosystem. It is changing what we know about sports storytelling, and it's empowering athletes in really profound ways.
And I think that's really important because before social media and this extreme access to technology that everyone has nowadays, athletes didn't really have the platform to tell their own story. They just had to let the media do it or someone else do it. And so now they're able to talk not just about sports, but things about culture and identity and business and everything that's important to them. And their fans also get to hear it straight from them. So while you still need the media, which Jason Kelly talked about in my interview with him, the media is still very important, but now the athletes also have this different platform, which is empowering for them, but also a new perspective for fans and everybody else following along.
I do think each of us brings something important to the table because when we're interviewing someone, whether it's Serena Williams or Jerry Jones or Michael Strahan, we're bringing different perspectives. And the athletes have a really important perspective that, candidly, I don't have. But I would like to think as a journalist, I have a perspective that, in this case, Alex doesn't have. So, I think we need to think about it being complementary and not exclusive.
About halfway through the day, I got to participate in lunch with a leader, and that was a special programming for us students to chat and network with industry professionals and panelists. I had lunch with some of my fellow Annenberg friends, and even Jacob Ullman, who I actually interned for this past summer at Fox Sports. He's a senior VP of talent development, so that was incredible, but so was seeing him at this lunch. And he also went to USC. I loved walking around the lunch and seeing everyone so engaged in conversation. That kind of opportunity is very special for anyone, but especially as a USC student. Other conference panelists and panels from today, LA 28 with Casey Wasserman. I think everybody in attendance was just, completely tuned in because LA 28 is coming and it's coming soon, and there's so much happening to the city now to prepare for it.
But the real power of the Olympics is not measuring the 30 days of the Olympics and the Paralympics. Is can we put our city on a better trajectory for the next 30 years because of those 30 days? And that's exactly what happened in 1984. And that's certainly what we intend to have happen post-2028.
How people are coming together, there's already volunteer signups, I'm pretty sure, and job applications for LA 28, and the athletes are training. So it's all very exciting, especially as someone who lives in LA, just hearing from someone like Mr. Wasserman talking about it. So that was incredible. Maria Sharapova, tennis world champion, talking about her experience, not just on the court, but also off the court in business, and what kind of companies she wants to get involved in and where she wants to put her time now that she's a mother.
From a young age, I started thinking about what's ahead, right? What is the next match on a business level? And for me, that was setting up a platform in business and investing particularly. I know that's a term that's thrown around so much by athletes now in particular. When I made enough money to feel like I could give a little and support a company or an idea or a founder and not see return for the next 10, 15 years, I felt safe to do that because I believed that my platform and my voice could raise a founder's dream and vision. I was one of the first few athletes that actually invested in something and kind of saw the fruits of that labor come to light.
Roger Goodell, NFL commissioner, to close it off for the day. Everybody in attendance was just ears up listening, and just the globalization of football and what the NFL is doing. He talked about the halftime performance for the 2026 Super Bowl with Bad Bunny and just how an artist like that is going to impact not just Americans but everybody around the world because they listen to his music.
We use that halftime for a couple of reasons. One, to bring in a new audience, and you can see that in the numbers. And second, to really unite the world at that point. It's a platform to do that. And when the artist understands that and then they use their talents, that's where the magic happens.
He also did an exclusive interview with some of my friends from Annenberg Media. So that was kind of cool just to hear from the commissioner himself. So overall, very informative day. I could talk about this all day, but thank you so much for coming with me to see the student perspective of the Next Level Sports Conference, and stay tuned for more content, pictures, and information.